In the year 2025, the global war against criminal cartels changed forever. The Drug Enforcement Administration, or DEA, moved past old ideas of raids and simple arrests. The agency became a true forensic intelligence powerhouse. Their job is no longer just catching drug sellers. Their real mission is to map out and take apart the unseen network behind every illegal shipment. This evolution was forced by the enemy's own growth. Cartels began running like global companies. They made synthetic drugs in small labs that moved every week. They used encrypted apps and dark web markets to work together across the world in real time. To fight this modern threat, the DEA needed tools that felt like science fiction. They built a new kind of weapon. This weapon is made not from guns or badges, but from pure data. The DEA launched a suite of technologies designed to follow the drugs back to their source. They follow every molecule and every byte of information. The message to the cartels is simple: invisibility is now obsolete. At the heart of this transformation is a stunning breakthrough called next-generation sequencing, or NGS. This DNA-based technology changed how agents look at evidence. Old testing needed a large, clean sample. NGS can find genetic details from fragments that are invisible to the human eye. This means traces of skin cells, degraded tissue, or even small residue on packaging can be used. A single stray hair or skin flake left in a secret lab exposes the identity of the person who was there. This is true, even if the lab was left weeks before. Combined with global DNA databases, NGS connects evidence across vast distances. A fentanyl shipment found in Miami can be linked to a drug press operation in Mumbai. Agents call NGS a time machine for evidence. Every DNA strand is now a breadcrumb. It leads backward through the cartel supply chain, showing not just people, but the relationships between them. The precision is surgical. The cartel's biological secrets are now permanently exposed. But DNA is just one part of the net. The DEA also uses the Next Generation Identification, or NGI system. NGI takes fingerprints, palm prints, facial recognition, and iris scans and puts them into one huge database. This biometric data can be used by all allied federal and international partners. When a criminal's face is seen on a camera or a fingerprint is found on plastic wrap, the system checks millions of records in seconds. The NGI system does not just find a person, it maps their every move. Using AI, agents can track a single person across city cameras, airports, and border checkpoints.
Before we get to that, I need your help. I'm trying to hit 50,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and I need your help. So I would really appreciate it if you could subscribe and help me out.
When this is combined with customs and travel records, the DEA builds a perfect digital timeline of cartel operatives. They know where these criminals traveled, who they met, and what devices they used. Cartels operate like big distributed companies. NGI makes it possible to take them down by making all their human movements visible. The gap between physical evidence and human identity is collapsed. This is absolute dominance over the human element of the enemy network. This dominance extends even to the dead. The DEA now uses AI-powered virtual autopsies. Standard autopsies take hours and can be dangerous due to toxic drugs. Virtual autopsies use high-resolution CT and MRI scans. AI models are trained to detect patterns of injury or substance abuse. In drug-related deaths, these tools can find chemical residues in tissues within hours. This reveals the chemical makeup and the origin of the lethal drugs. This procedure is no longer just a medical one. It is a powerful forensic intelligence tool. It turns the human body into evidence against the global supply networks. Residues of a specific precursor chemical or a unique synthesis method instantly point to which lab produced the batch. Behind every successful operation sits the cold, fast power of an algorithm. The DEA's data division uses artificial intelligence and machine learning models. These systems are trained on petabytes of evidence, financial records, satellite photos, seized communications, and social media posts. The AI sifts through this massive chaos, finding patterns that no human could ever detect. The AI can tell when a series of encrypted messages are following a known cartel command chain or shipment schedule. Machine learning flags money laundering hidden inside shell companies or cryptocurrencies. Some of these systems even predict the most likely smuggling routes based on shipping schedules and market changes. This means the DEA can stage preemptive strikes before the shipments even reach their destination. The AI is an investigator's second mind, instantly connecting scattered details into a clear picture of who is profiting and where to strike next. The US side is decisive, while the enemy is exposed to total clarity. The battlefield is also invisible. Cartels live in cyberspace as much as they live on land. They recruit on encrypted apps, sell on the dark web, and use digital wallets for money. The DEA's answer is to expand into cloud-based intelligence operations. AI scans billions of communications, looking for keywords, transaction patterns, and strange behaviors. Even when messages are encrypted, the metadata, the timing, frequency, and routing of the message reveals the cartel structure. Cyber task forces use network traffic analysis to watch data flows in regions known for drug making. This fusion of cyber and physical surveillance means the US is fighting cartels not just in jungles and ports, but in servers and data streams. The most crushing blow to the cartel's sense of security is the complete end of plausible deniability. This is where the chemistry becomes the ultimate proof. Every drug batch has a unique chemical signature. These are subtle variations in the drug's makeup left by the specific precursors, solvents, and equipment used by the manufacturer. The DEA's labs use incredibly precise tools to detect these molecular details. Two batches might look identical, but they have a distinct chemical accent that exposes the specific lab or cartel that made them. This is a deep structural humiliation for the enemy. The drug itself becomes a data source, a witness that cannot be intimidated or silenced. When a lethal fentanyl pill is found in Chicago, analysts can check its chemical profile against a national database of known cartel signatures. If it matches a known Sinaloa or Jalisco New Generation cartel lab, investigators instantly know the network, the precursors, and the likely corridor it traveled. This insight turns a simple seizure into the first step of an international takedown. The science behind this is staggering. The DEA's enhanced automated spectral identification algorithm, called EASY, uses machine learning to process thousands of readings in minutes. This algorithm reveals hidden relationships between shipments that are separated by both time and geography.
Before we get to that, I need your help. I'm trying to hit 50,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and I need your help. So I would really appreciate it if you could subscribe and help me out.
The old ways of waiting weeks for lab results are over. The new systems can return actionable intelligence in under 48 hours for high-priority seizures. This speed is decisive. It allows agents to launch follow-up operations before traffickers can adjust their routes or destroy evidence. This is the difference between dismantling a whole network and simply chasing its ghost. Cartels thrive on chaos and confusion, but the DEA now acts with surgical speed and precision. The precision is so high, it exposes the anonymous middle layer of the drug trade. Trace impurities can reveal the origin of precursor chemicals. For example, an impurity in acetic anhydride can link it back to a specific supplier in eastern China. When the same impurity pattern is found in multiple seizures across different states, it is not chance. It is a chemical breadcrumb trail leading straight back to the lab. Even atmospheric differences, such as humidity or altitude, leave micro-residues that are translated into intelligence. The cartels tried to hide. They blended drugs from multiple suppliers to blur the origins. This was their favorite defense. But high-resolution analysis can now untangle those blends. The science can reverse engineer the mix and assign responsibility to every source that contributed. Every attempt the enemy makes to hide only strengthens the trail. The logic of the traffickers is being used against them. This forensic proof has immediate and crushing operational consequences. One major operation in 2025 showed the full dominance of the new technology. Forensic analysts used digital tools to trace a major fentanyl distribution ring. They did this by analyzing the metadata of deleted WhatsApp messages. This exposed links between operators in Florida, Colombia, and Spain. The resulting operation led to the capture of 47 cartel members and the seizure of over 600 kilograms of narcotics. The technology did not just help the case, it made the case possible. This massive public win was a decisive victory for the US and its partners, leaving no doubt about who is in control. The DEA also uses a daring tactic involving blockchain technology. They work with drug companies and shipping partners to create a secure, transparent ledger for all legal supply chains. Every single batch of medication gets a digital signature that records its origin and movement. This prevents criminals from diverting legal drugs into the black market. More importantly, if a suspicious or counterfeit batch appears, analysts can instantly trace it back to the exact point of compromise. The DEA is turning legitimate commerce itself into a transparent surveillance system that makes corruption nearly impossible to hide. The ultimate target is the gatekeeper, the invisible actor who connects the criminal world to the legal world. Operation Portero was launched specifically against these people. These are the port managers, freight executives, and logistics coordinators who wear suits by day but move drug shipments at night. This operation was a moment of deep humiliation for these seemingly untouchable figures. In one case, a cartel executive tried to hide his profits using a Panamanian shell corporation and cryptocurrency. The New Labs analysts decoded his financial patterns and then linked them to chemical residue found on seized shipments. This dual link was undeniable proof, leading to his arrest and conviction. In another example, precursors were found hidden inside legal pharmaceutical containers. The lab team found trace contamination patterns too subtle for any person to detect. This identified the origin facility by its unique solvent ratios. This chemical clue, when matched against shipping data, exposed a private maritime company that was complicit in the transshipment. The company was forced to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars, but the real cost was the reputational damage. The message was sent clearly across the entire global logistics industry. Silence is no longer safe. This technology is not just reactive. It all comes together in a new discipline called forensic intelligence. The system can now predict where trafficking routes will shift after a major seizure. Algorithms can model how cartels will try to reorganize after a leader is captured. This capability changes the entire strategy. The DEA no longer chases shadows. It acts in anticipation, redirecting patrols and launching coordinated international raids based on projected enemy movements. The US is now actively shaping the battlefield. The legal consequences are just as severe for the cartels. The new forensic methods meet the highest court standards with ease. Defense lawyers who once exploited technicalities now face scientifically airtight evidence. The argument shifts from questioning whether the drug belongs to the cartel to arguing how much. That is a losing position. Juries are shown visuals of molecular fingerprints, charts of chemical lineage, and animations linking digital messages to money transfers. The narrative of guilt writes itself in the data. In 2025, US prosecutors used this chemical signature evidence to successfully convict 2 Chinese chemical executives who supplied fentanyl precursors to Mexican labs. The science is now reaching across borders and courtrooms alike. The psychological impact on the cartels is profound. Networks that once felt invincible now live in constant uncertainty. Their greatest fear is not a sudden raid, it is the breakdown of their invisibility. Every chemical tweak might betray a lab's location. For traffickers who rely on confusing the courts, facing machine-validated evidence feels like suffocation. The human margin of error, the small chance for mistakes that saved them, is completely gone. Science has no fear, and algorithms cannot be bribed or threatened. The cartel chemists themselves are under existential pressure. Their skill, once their protection and status, now betrays them. Every synthesis they perform is a self-incriminating act. Some try to randomize their process, switching chemicals and reaction times. but these changes reduce the purity and yield of the product, which loses money and angers their superiors. The paradox is brutal and humiliating. To stay hidden, they must make worse drugs. To make better drugs, they expose themselves. This scientific deterrence forces the enemy to choose between technical failure or certain exposure. The rumors of invisible DEA technology spread through the criminal world, causing fear that works better than any raid. The DEA is no longer simply reacting. They are engaged in a data war, a contest of precision, time, and information. This campaign is actively dismantling the very foundation the cartels were built upon: ambiguity. For decades, cartels thrived because layers of corruption and intermediaries could blur accountability. Now, every single gram, every byte, and every chemical signature betrays them. The margin of error, the space where the criminal lies lived, has collapsed. The concept of plausible deniability has been scientifically and completely erased. In the end, this is a total shift of power. The US and its allies have achieved dominance through intelligence and technology. The drug war is now fought in sterile laboratories and digital command centers, where precision is the new power. The cartels can bribe, threaten, and hide, but they cannot outwit chemistry. They cannot outrun data. They cannot survive this total exposure. The humiliation they fear most is being seen, completely, undeniably, and scientifically. The DEA's new technology does not just catch them, it strips them of the one thing they thought was untouchable: their invisibility. The drug molecule they made now whispers its confession. The atoms remember everything. And for the cartels, the truth written in the molecules themselves is the final, crushing defeat. This takedown was just the start. The fight isn't finished. On your screen is the next video. Click the video, it opens right away, and you'll see the cartels crushed even harder.